Hey, Randy Joe here, and we're going to continue things with Folk February today by listening to Joanna Newsom's 2006 album, East. That's right, it is pronounced East, not Y-S like I thought, and not Wise like I thought. Instead, it's pronounced East, like the forgotten city that was built in the land of Brittany and swallowed by an ocean. Very interesting little piece of mythological information there that is tied into the naming of this album, which I think will probably speak to the very folk nature of this one. I've heard a little bit of this thing already, and boy oh boy, this is probably the folkiest we're going to get on this channel. So without further ado, we're going to listen to the first track here, Emily. We'll go from there. I believe there's like 57 minutes worth of content here. So let's not waste too much time. We don't want this video being too long. Beautiful, like absolutely gorgeous artwork, by the way. I think the cover art is very like compelling. Certainly sets the tone. Let's go. Really enjoying this delicate nature so far. That gentle plucking in the background. Very distinct, specific vocal style too. That like kind of raspiness in our tone at times. Again, very folky. Oh, I like those strings. Those ones that have been rising in the background there. Very orchestral. Very like dense imagery already. Almost like the formation of the land, I think, here. God. Those like, you know, riveting sort of strings up against the gentle plucking. Very contrasting. Kind of jarring. Emily is her sister. This is a tribute to her sister. Really sweet. Got this childlike whimsy. Very Scandinavian in terms of the imagery here. Her sister's an astrophysicist. God, gorgeous production. It really throws things back too. Sounds very authentic to that classic Scandinavian folk. Very touching tribute to her sister. It's so like sweet and wholesome and intimate. God, it's really swelling up here. It's got a sense of betrayal from Emily, it seems. Sense of betrayal from her sister, although she's showing a sense of forgiveness as the song carries on. Oh, I like those backup vocals, her own vocals backing her up, it sounds. Very medieval, not only in the musical fashion, but also in her vocals. She's got like this traditional bard-like ability. You can really picture this gorgeous field of flowers that she's painting here. More references to space. Very shifting themes in this singular song so far. A very dense song. Very word heavy. Wow, a song about cause and effect, it would seem, using the metaphor of a meteorite. Very dense lyrics on here, and a very rich metaphor that, you know, kicks off the song and continues throughout, transforming things as it goes on. Those strings. This orchestra in the background as well is absolutely impeccable. Very cinematic. 12 minutes that track was. Wow. I thought that was a little bit shorter. I knew it was a long one, but boy, 12 minutes. That's beautiful. That is a beautiful, breathtaking track lyrically and instrumentally. And I don't know if I've heard anything quite like it. Next, we're going to go into Monkey and Bear. Tells the origin story of the constellation Ursa Major, or Great Bear. Lots of astrology references throughout this so far. It's got a very storytelling element to it, almost like a traditional storybook for children. There's like full-on like narratives being told. It's like a song about two animals trying to escape. The monkey telling the bear to play along for now until their great escape. Very like this song feels, songwriting wise, like so dense and all over the place at the same time. It's evolved quite a bit. Hold on. According to this here, it says the space they gained grew much farther than the stone that bear threw, which shows the beginning of the unfolding of the universe, showing the fate of the bear. How am I supposed to pick that up? How am I supposed to know that without checking out the lyrics here? Such a dense and complicated sense of lyrics that thank God I can follow along with this here, because I'd be lost. But it seems like the fate of the bear will be the constellation Ursa Major. So this monkey is a manipulative little bastard, manipulating the bear to make their money. God, these strings. Love the way they're kind of rising and cascading. The harp on this thing, which sounds like a harp, it's so gentle. Although using monkey and bear as a metaphor, I think it could be used for real people. Manipulating your lover to bring in the financial gain that you want. Monkey is grooming her to not feel good enough for anyone else. If she dances, he will still love her, while others may not. This is all part of manipulation and emotional abuse. Themes of abuse, themes of space, telling the tale through a bear and a monkey. I think the bear's trying to get away. We're rooting for the bear here. We're rooting for the bear. God, it's getting like more disturbed, but almost hopeful. Awful monkey. Oh. Oh, this is picking up. Is this bear falling apart? This bear's decaying? Shedding its coat? I think the bear is breaking free. The bear had to strip itself of its pelt to break free from the reins of this monkey. I never thought I would say those words. Bear chooses to live for the present, abandoning her coat, whose constant repair and mending necessitated a reflection upon the past. She steps out of the material and transforms into her true self, unburdened by the weight of her trauma. Chef's kiss. I think that is not only a tale describing, of course, the creation of the constellation, the bear, but also seems like it is very much a metaphor of an abusive relationship and breaking free from the reins and becoming your true self, and shaking away the trauma and becoming who you're meant to be, free of control from your abuser. And if that's the case, wonderfully told, wonderfully written, and just an absolute stellar performance from both Newsom and the orchestral backdrop. God, what a breathtaking song. Let's go into Sawdust and Diamonds. Much more sad tone of this one. A little shift up here. Seems to be a song about death or loss. The way she's rhyming things like pliers and mires, wires, it's all like every 5 lines or so. God, I really love that. This constant plucking has not let up, and I'm here for it. According to this, it could be about giving up a child, but again, quite vague, fragmented lyrics. Oh, the way her vocals sort of screech there. Not sure how I felt about that. I really like that. It's definitely more laid back now. More melancholic though, of course. Seems like this, if this is about an abortion, if this is the after the fact, I think she's speaking out to her child or a lover. Lines like my dear and darling seem like it's speaking out. Oh, they will recognize all the lines of your face and the face of the daughter of my daughter. I think it's out to her child here. Oh. Hold on. It seems like this final verse callbacks to the first verse, which, knowing, if you know this is about her abortion, I think changes the perspective of it. She's speaking out to her child. Is her child waiting for her at the end? Breathtaking listen. I don't know if I was as invested, I would say, as I was in the last 2 tracks, but I still really liked that one, and I think with repeated listenings, the lyrics will certainly jump out to me more, and you know, I'll be able to dive into it with more depth, but just on a first listen, beautiful. But now we're going to go into the next one, the longest track here, 16 minutes, 54 seconds, which is essentially just a 17-minute track, so let's see how this fares. This is going to be a dense one, I feel. I love the plucking on this, the gentle harp, and that orchestra. It's just like continually swelling and gorgeous and well produced. Glad her vocals are never pushed to the side, because despite the very beautiful production and the very, you know, folk-inspired Scandinavian sort of tone that the instrumentals seem to give off, the focus is surely the lyricism and her vocals. And I'm glad the mixing does not cover that, because, you know, that'd be a real shame. If anything, it just elevates her lyrics even more so. It's hard to decipher, again, what these lyrics are saying. She's gone fishing, I guess to cure her lover's impending sickness. Very, very rich poetic imagery throughout this album. I think she just wants some sort of physical contact here. Using the word crib, maybe suggesting her abortion once more. Almost like an autobiographical track, I think. Speaking on her lover and this lost child. Oh, is that what is that? A flute? Accordion, perhaps, as well? There's so much going on instrumentally, such a dense, you know, production. And this is her second album, which is quite impressive. Oh, she had a miscarriage. Okay, my bad. If she had a miscarriage, these lines suggest her lover leaving her. She feels as if her lover will leave her. Oh, there's like a pain in her voice. Oh, it's like an uplifting. Maybe she's finding a light after this miscarriage. Common folk. Again, really brings it to a folk sort of Scandinavian tone. We got ourselves a Sisyphus reference. That's the second reference to Sisyphus in the last week I've heard an album. But the continual rock pushing up a hill. The lover has PTSD and contemplates suicide? What is going on here? This is not a track that I'm going to be able to effectively react to. Not in the way that I think die-hard Joanna Newsom fans might want, simply because I don't have the knowledge of these tracks beforehand, which certainly will grow on me with repeated listenings. But I gotta say, God, these are some dense lyrics, and the stories being weaved here, expertly weaved, by the way, are just so poetic and like either beautiful or dark and depressive, but done so still in a beautiful way. Oh, I like those horns coming in here. I think this song's about as a woman feeling the need to care for another, to put their needs above your own. It's almost a sense of self-damage, self-harm in giving herself to this man who might not be giving back as much as she's giving. Keep in mind, she did lose a child. Who is this? Bill Callahan providing a duet of sorts. She's trying to keep the relationship alive through these sexual deeds for her lover. But at what cost? The cost of herself? Her own self-esteem? It's despite a uplifting tone to this passage here, you can't help but feel like she is sacrificing herself for this man, sacrificing her own desires and needs. Again, fire being a reference to her lover. Is she losing him despite her best efforts? Oh, the way it's coming back down with this rapid plucking. Has he been unfaithful to her? Oh, it's getting a darker tone here. Oh, wow. Despite giving herself to this man, he has been unfaithful. What a betrayal. Also, what a depressing end to this track. If the love of a woman or two, dear, can move you to such heights, then all I can do is do, my darling, right by you. Ambiguous, sure, but I believe she's staying with this unfaithful man despite, knowing that he's unfaithful, because maybe she either loves him or she has given herself so much to him she doesn't want to, I guess, start over, which I think speaks to an issue that women and men, to an extent, relate to in a relationship, but more so women. It is a much more societal thing with women. From what I've seen, I know people personally who have dedicated their years to a relationship that has gone either unfaithful or even abusive, and they don't want to let it go because they believe maybe he'll change, which maybe that's the final message of the song, and she sticks with him, which is a harsh truth, but it would be nice, maybe if the ambiguous ending implies that she leaves him. Depends how you want to look at it. But let's go to Cosmia, the last track here. I'm going to assume Cosmia is going to be space-related, kind of like cosmos. Cosmia is a genus of moths. This is the shortest track here. I like this repeating descent of strings. Much more sparse in this arrangement so far. I don't know what that instrument is in the background there, but that like bizarre sort of backdrop there. Can't tell what that instrument is, but it's really adding to the atmosphere. Certainly acquired taste when she does those high-pitched, almost screeching vocals where they kind of break barrier. Oh, I'm loving this verse here. I really like these strings. They're much more cinematic in this track, more like overlapping in a way. Like this clapping sound came out of nowhere. Oh, there's so much going on instrumentally. Accordions coming in. The production on this, the orchestra, the cost of this would be so grand. Oh my goodness, look at this. The personnel section, immense. Like they have about 10 violinists on this thing. Steve Albini's part of this? God. This orchestra. Such a grand album this has been. Breathtaking. Oh. That screechy vocal again. Certainly an acquired taste. I'm not sure if it's for me. But it certainly gets that passion across. Okay. And that closes out the album. And I gotta say, what a listen. Absolutely grand album. The production, her vocals, the lyrics, especially these verses, super, super dense. Probably one of the most, I guess, epic albums I've heard in a while in terms of its overall goal and ambition. You got tons of lengthy tracks here. In fact, the shortest track at 7 minutes would be most artists' longest track. So that alone already, you can tell she's got a goal in mind. She's not breaking an artistic vision for popularity, that's for sure. I don't think Joanna Newsom is going to be an artist that people are hearing on the radio. But these tracks are all pretty impeccable. And even though this last track here, I could not quite pick up on the themes as much as some of the others. Some of the lyrics as well. Even its weakest track here, so far from me on a first listen, was still engaging and interesting. And the production of it as well, the instrumental, was so dense and beautifully recorded that you really can't help but admire it at the very least and respect what it's doing. But Monkey and Bear might be my favorite track. Emily was fantastic. Only Skin was depressing and dark and touched on themes of womanhood, as well as miscarriages and loss and love and betrayal. Very dense listen, that one was. And Sawdust and Diamonds and Cosmere are the two that were a bit harder for me to personally grasp. Although I did think Sawdust and Diamonds, again, touching on themes of the miscarriage and loss, and like the loss of motherhood in a way. Again, very beautiful and beautifully done despite the dark, depressing tone of the lyrics. And speaking of lyrics, none of them are particularly blunt, none of them are straightforward, very heavy in terms of their imagery. Certainly would take, lots of deep diving to fully digest the lyrics, which makes for a great album most of the time, because if they're not nonsensical, and none of these lyrics do seem nonsensical, if they're intentionally written to be that way, they're usually super rich and just dense and poetic. So a beautiful listen, an absolutely stellar listen, and certainly the most folkiest album I've heard so far. Very rich in its Scandinavian folk roots. That sounds like I'm listening to something that came right out of the medieval times. It fell right into our lap, and yet it's touching on themes that are very current and timeless as well. These are very timeless themes, unfortunately, and they always will be. What a listen. What a listen. And I think the album art also perfectly just captures the mood of this album, I gotta say. Breathtaking album art, breathtaking album. And that pretty much does it for this one here. That is the album Is by Joanna Newsom. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe to follow along and listening to more albums alongside myself. Thanks for watching. My name is Randy Joe, and as always, I'm signing off.